EE World, I'm Senior Technical Editor Martin Rowe. What we have here is a Uni-T or Uni-Trend UPO1202 2-channel 200 megahertz 1 gigasample per second oscilloscope. And we're going to take a look at it, see what we can do with it. We're also going to take a look at the software. For just $339 plus shipping, you get quite a bit for your 2-channel scope. The 4-channel scope will do all of the same things, just has 4 channels. So for example, you've got math, trigonometric functions, things like that. You also get an FFT. You also get various forms of analog and digital triggering, including logic triggering and bus triggering and an nth edge trigger, which we found very useful. The article that accompanies this video will go through quite a few of the menus and things, but let's just give you a quick overview. So for example, we have a measure menu. The measure menu lets you select your sources, parameters, and some user-defined and some statistics. Use the menu button here to turn the menu off, get full screen. The acquire menu lets you set things like the memory depth and the oscilloscope mode, the normal, auto, or single. Storage menu lets you decide where you want to store data. You can store data in the scope and then transfer it to your computer over USB. You can also use a USB flash drive, which is what I've got plugged in right here. And you can turn on my sources set at channel 1. The type of file that you can save, there are a few types. There's one called a wave, which is really for saving data, so you can save it as a CSV, for example, to bring into Excel. You can also do something called a wave file. Now that is not like an audio Windows wave file. It's something that's used for their software. We didn't have a good time getting it to work, but that was really more on the software side, not on the scope side. The utility menu gives you system information, language, how you want to set up your calibration square wave over here. Cursors, pretty much what you'd expect. You can set time or voltage, and you can also select the source, and the screen will give you the difference between, in this case it's time, the difference between the two cursors. And if you're using it for time, so vertical, it will give you the frequency equivalent of that time based on the time base. The display menu lets you do things like set the brightness of the graticule of the waveform itself and the backlighting as well, and the persistence. The utility menu gives you the self-calibration, system information, language, and so on. There's also a help menu over here, which I found quite useful. And here I just pulled it up, and this comes up, the default is channel 1, and it gives you quite a bit of information. It's very useful for example, we used it to select an FFT window, and it gives you a good explanation, short of course, but a good explanation of each of the type of windows that you can use when using the FFT. The home menu lets you set recording. You can set some pass-fail parameters. It's also got a DVM right here. It's a 3.5 digit, so you can actually, get some measurements of DC, AC voltage, and so on. There's a self-test. There's also auto set, which is the same as pressing the auto set button over here. The navigate menu lets you set markers, and there's a button over here. This one is for saving the screen capture. So that's pretty much what you get from these menus. There's also, as I said, there's a math menu down here. Let's open that. And in the math menu, you can select the type of math, and we'll go through that. You get an FFT, logic, filter, and if you go to advance, I'm going to push this. Let me push this button here for advance, and then you push this button to select it. And if I were to turn on the expression, you get quite a bit of options. For example, log, exponential, trigonometric functions come up, and then you get your operator, your math operators, and numbers that you can put in, and also a positive or negative sign. So let's take a look at the software. This is the device manager. I've got the icon over here. And when you connect the scope or any other Uni-Trend instrument, you'll get a menu. In this case, you can see it identified the oscilloscope as on the USB port. It also has LAN and serial as options. So if you right-click, you get a choice: open wave analysis, open DSO, or send command. So let's look at open DSO for a minute. Now all the controls work from a mouse. So for example, if I were to take my mouse and click on the menu button, you see the menus go away on the virtual screen as they are below. You can't see it, but the same happened on the actual instrument itself, which is just out of view here. So this lets you control everything that you can do from the physical front panel. The only thing you really can't do is save directly to the flash drive. There you have it. That's the Uni-Trend UPO1202. Please read the article that comes along with this video for much more of the details. For EE World, I'm Senior Technical Editor Martin Rowe. Thank you for watching.